Hello again and welcome to another 140k Imperial Guard Tactics video, and oh boy guys, do we have a lot to talk about today because the balance patch came out. Originally today I was going to be talking about my Black Tide 2.0 and how it did at Adepticon 2022 singles and all that kind of good stuff, and I had originally planned, just look, it's already done, it's already scheduled, just upload it to him, it'll be fine, you can wait till next week to do the balance patch, but I can't wait until next week to do the balance patch. I'm just too excited. Sorry, Black Templars. I even know it's a Friday and we're meant to do Black Templar Fridays and all that kind of stuff, but you know what? You're getting pushed to next week because this is a goddamn Imperial Guard channel. Let's talk about some goddamn Imperial Guard. So, hope you guys are excited as I am. Grab your favourite beverage. I have in front of me some delicious Iron Brew, Nectar of the Gods. But if you have got any orange juice or alcohol or whatever you prefer to drink, crack one open, make a cup of tea, whatever. Let's get straight in because today, guys, we're talking balance patch. Today, guys, we're talking Games Workshop has actually given Guard some buffs. I know. I probably should have warned you all to sit down first. I bet there's a load of people who have now hurt themselves on the floor because I said Games Workshop gave us a buff and I didn't give them warning to sit down. So to all those people, I'm sorry if that has happened to you. I'm sorry. But I'm just so excited, I just had to say it. Alright? Now, obviously, in the last balance patch, the proper balance patch, not the bullshit Knackman bollocks that happened, you know, we got some pretty good buffs in that one. We got Lehman Russ with 2+ saves. We got vehicle orders for days on different vehicles. And we got orders that could proc onto other units, and it was all great. That was a great balance patch. And I said last time that, you know, that was just, it was more tools in the toolbox. It came out at a similar time as getting the Leviathan book. And I said, look, this is a shot in the arm. Those Lehman Russ 2+ save things, they're really, really, really good. The being able to spread orders out all over the place is fantastic. It means you can basically take Creed and not need any other officers in a nice normal guard army. It's pretty insane. It was pretty insane. Now we've got even more stuff and I am just so excited. So excited. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is they have given us a new army-wide buff. Every unit in your army gets this, as long as it's not auxiliary or advisors. So it's, you know, Bulgarians aren't going to get it, or Ogres aren't going to get it. Your Rattling Snipers aren't going to get it, unfortunately. But everything that is what you could call like normal, in the bit of a difficult one in the context of Guard and 40k, but everything you call a normal Guard unit, like a tank or an artillery piece or an infantry squad, everything like that, if every regiment unit in your army is drawn from the same regiment, then you get this buff. Okay, so for example, if you go pure Cadians or you go pure custom guard regiment, you're going to get this buff. Okay, that's it, if you go pure. Right, the buff is called Hammer of the Emperor. If every regiment unit in your army is drawn from the same regiment, that each time a regiment model from your army makes a ranged attack, so not melee, just ranged, an unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically wounds the target. Note that units such as advisors and auxiliary do not prevent other time units from your army from gaining this rule, but advisors and auxiliary units never benefit from this rule themselves. That is insane. That is genuinely bonkers. Let me just remind everyone that, 6 months, maybe 9 months ago, everyone was losing their shit. The meta was broken. Games Workshop had to release other FAQs and stuff because Adeptus Mechanicus could do this on like one unit or something crazy. You know, they could go, galvanic enriched rounds, wow, oh yeah, everyone could go nuts, you know, and they had to start changing it so it was only on a 5+ and all this kind of stuff. Like, everyone was going nuts because Qatari could do this crazy thing where they could auto wound on 6s and then, you know, that was it. When I say one unit, I mean one unit type, guys, should be clear. And then you could buff it up with like a 4+ on one actual specific unit. But they've gone to the Guard and been like, no problem. Not just one unit, not just Vanguard. You know what? Give it to everyone. Give it to your infantry. Give it to your conscripts. Give it to your tanks. Give it to everything. If it gets a 6 to hit, it automatically wounds. No problem. It's like, Jesus Christ. That's like, it's insane. It's really, really powerful. You might be like, oh, well, you know, guard only hit half the time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we only hit half the time, but it literally means that 16% of your shots, every time you fire, 16% of the dice that you roll are just going to go straight through to wounds. It makes las guns, like, really weirdly good. Really, really good. Because it's like, you know, one of the things with las guns is you get loads and loads of shots. How many times have we all fired massive volleys of las guns? Yeah, I've got a combined squad, or I've got a concert squad, and I've got first rank fire on them, and I'm rolling like 100 dice from this unit. Yeah, I feel great. And then you get all these hits, and you're like, oh, that's a pretty respectable amount of hits. Oh, bugger, I'm wounding on like 5s. Oh, shit, it all went down the toilet. I barely wounded anything. Oh, and then, yeah, that's done. It's like, okay. Now it's just a case of, so you did really well on those hits. Oh, well, guess what? 60% of those, you know, like a third of all your hits, because you hit on 4s, and a third of those are going to be 6s. So a third of all those hits you got, they just wound. Go, dude, you just get on in there. You just wound. It's bonkers. It is really bonkers. Transhuman? Doesn't matter. Mini transhuman? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's a las gun or a Punisher kind of round or anything like that. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Your transhuman physiology doesn't matter, mate. I've auto-wounded you. Tough tits. You know, I can only auto-wound you on a 4 better. I can only wound you on a 4 better. What if I just auto-wound you? How does that work, Sonny? I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty 99.9% certain I've auto-wounded you. Done. So it's the implications for this are massive, and I actually did a bit of a joke post on my Facebook page and also on the YouTube community section where I was like, if you take 1 unit of Cadian conscripts, and the only reason I say Cadian conscripts is because you can upgrade them to white shields so they take orders automatically. You take 1 unit of Cadian conscripts, and if you get them into rapid fire range, which realistically you're going to be able to do, because you know that you can run them around and you'll have more than 1 squad of these. Let's just say you get a unit of Cadian conscripts into rapid fire range of a Chaos Knight. And guess what codex is around the corner, guys? Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights are around the corner. So we know we're going to be seeing Knights in the meta, right? So again, this seems like a far-fetched scenario, but it's not. So you take your 1 unit of 30 conscripts, you get them into rapid fire range, and then you spend 2 CP on them. So 1 CP for shock troops on an infantry unit, which means if they're in half range, they get AP -1, they can't standing still. And you spend another CP for Vengeance for Cadia on them, which means you get full rerolls to hit and to wound. Okay? On average, with that, you're going to get 35 automatic wounds on the enemy. Because you roll 120 dice. First time, you know, a third of those are going to hit. And then you're going to get like 50, it's like what is it, like 120 dice, and 1/6 of those will be 6s. So that's 20. Is that right? Feels about right, yeah. And then you do your re-rolls, and roughly it's in the 14, 15. And then you have your actual hits and whatnot. And so the end result is something like 52 wounds on an Imperial Knight with las guns. And they're all AP -1. So the Knight goes from a 3-up save to a 4-up save. So he's going to fail 26 of those. That's a dead Imperial Knight with 2 wounds to change. From 1 unit of conscripts, 150 points. 150 points and 2 CP. If you're facing a Chaos Knight, you can kill it with conscripts. It's mad. It's really, really powerful. It makes las guns really good. It makes just volume of dice really, really good. Because the only really thing you need to make, you know, is you need, you know, really you could do with a bit of AP. But like, apart from that, you're good. You're just golden. You're just wounding. I mean, the implications, I don't know. But the implications for anything that's able to put out a lot of dice in the guard is strong. You know, what about Punishers? Weapon expert Punishers. 40 shots from a Punisher tank. That's pretty tasty. What, you're looking at like 5 or 6 auto wounds, AP -1 on those. That's pretty good. Add in your 3 heavy bolters. They're 2 damage, so they're even better. It starts getting crazy. It also starts adding credence to, you know, to things like exterminator autocannons and autocannons in general, because you just, you know, you just want that extra, you know, you might want some AP from a bit of a distance. Obviously, the strength, you know, your strength isn't great, but it still offers credence to the fact that, you know, you just one of the big problems with things like autocannons is they have a bit of a lackluster wounding capability. Oh well, you know, you'll get a couple through every time now. It's pretty bonkers. And weirdly, if you have access to like full rerolls, like you do if you're Cadian, for example, on a lot of units, if you have access to full rerolls, weirdly, you're actually going to want to be using more ballistic skill 4 units than ballistic skill 3+ units, because you want more chances to get 6s. And I've seen a lot of professional players do this where they're fishing for 6s. And they've got an ability like may reroll all hits. It doesn't say failed, it says like all hits. So what they do is they roll and they get like 5 or 6 6s, and then they pick up all the dice, even the hits that they've got, because they want 6s for some reason, whatever rule it is, and they'll roll them again. And that's kind of what it's like when you're using units which have got abilities full rerolls with this new rule, because like you don't want 3s, because those 3s you've got to try and wound with them. What you want to do is try and, you know, you want 1s, 2s, and 3s to be fully rerolled, because they've got another chance of picking up auto wounds. It's a bit of a funny one, but I've seen it happen multiple times. I think it's kind of what happens here as well. So, I mean, implications are pretty big for demolisher cannons as well. I mean, on average, you know, if you've got something like Hail of Fire, again, Imperial Knights are coming around the corner. You know, vehicles are doing pretty well at the moment in 40k, and, you know, with things like Void Weavers and whatnot, although they've taken a bit of a hit in this balance sheet and all this kind of stuff. But the point is that, like, you know, if you get 12, you know, 10 to 12 battle cannon shots off, 10 to 12 demolisher cannon shots off, which is kind of the average that you're going to get if you've got things like Catan or Gunnery Experts and all that kind of stuff, or Hail of Fire or whatever, or CP reroll or Pound into Dust or anything like that. You know, the average is like 10, is about 10 shots. So you've got a decent chance of just getting 2 auto wounds through on that demolisher cannon. Again, I cannot tell you this personal experience how many times that I have done really well on my hits with like my battle cannon, and then I've just got all 1s and 2s for like wounds, and it's just totally buggered it. You know, it happens all the time. It's one that's so frustrating. It's like clockwork. I know it's going to happen, and now that, you know, that's just not a big a deal for me anymore. Now, the temptation with this rule is to go for maximum volume of fire all the time. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a wrong thing to do, but I still think you're going to need AP. And the reason I still think you're going to need AP is because, you know, there are armies out there that are doing very well at the moment, like Custodies. And the Custody bikes got a bit of a nerf in the balance patch, from what I understand. So you're going to be seeing more people with Custodies Infantry and Custodies Infantry. Well, some of them have got guns, but most of them are running around with like swords and shields, and the shields make them really immune to like AP shenanigans. So even if you've got the aforementioned 120 AP1, you know, conscript lasgun shots, 120 AP-1 lasgun shots, yeah, you're still not going to do too much to a unit of Custodies. You know, you get like 20 auto wounds, and then they're still going to make like, they're going to fail like 3 of them. Now, I suppose you might kill a Custodies with it. You know, you're not going to have as many rerolls because they're not chaos and stuff like that. So it's still pretty good. Don't get me wrong, but I definitely think you're going to want some AP shenanigans in there. Something that can give you some AP too. You know, full payload Manticore is still looking pretty good with this, because again, you want as many opportunities to try and get rerolls as possible. I'm not sure how you get full rerolls and full payload Manticores. You probably can't do it, but you know, full payload Manticore is still looking good with this because you've got the 2d6. Yeah, it's good. So overall, this is an insanely powerful rule. Now, one thing to mention is there's some argument at the moment is, do Scions get this because they don't have the regiment keyword and da-da-da-da-da. My understanding is, and how it's been explained to me, is that Scions do get access to this because essentially there's wording in the Nachmund FAQ which says treat Tempestus Regiment or Militam Tempestus as your regiment keyword. Okay. The one thing I would say, the argument I would say for this is that it very specifically says here, Hammer of the Emperor, if every regiment unit in your army is drawn from the same regiment. It says in your army. So my thinking here is that if you use pure Scions, you will get access to Hammer of the Emperor. And if you use pure regular guard, then you will get access to Hammer of the Emperor. But if you take Guard and Scions, even if in 2 separate detachments, I suspect you are going to lose Hammer of the Emperor. I suspect. This is all very new, guys. It's all very much up in the air. This could easily get FAQ'd. FAQ the balance patch, FAQ the FAQ, all that kind of stuff. But that's where I am with it at the moment. So the implications for pure Scions are pretty mental. I mean, you know, we were talking about how you want volume and AP. Well, I'm sorry, but what the hell does Scions bring if it's not volume and AP? You know, think about your Torx Primes, your Dakar Primes. You're getting, if you have a Storm Bolter on those guys, you're looking at 30 shots per vehicle. AP, Elite AP -1, some AP -3 if you're looking at the volley guns. That's a 24-inch range. So what, that's 5 auto wounds from every Torx Prime. 5 auto wounds from every Torx Prime with a minimum AP of 1. Perfect. Perfect. You know, and you've got the AP3 in there as well from those volley guns. Can't complain about that. I run 5 Torx Primes. On average, I'll be getting 30 auto wounds. 25 auto wounds a turn. Every time if I open it with all my Torx Primes. That's pretty much mental. What about Rifleman Squads? You know, you've got, not only have you got things like Lambda Lions, who, yeah, they can jump out of a Torx Prime and be like, here's my free plasma pistol, and I've also got 36 first rank fire, second rank fire lasgun shots, and I'll probably be within 6 inches of a keys to the armory bloke, so I'm getting some kind of reroll on that. So yeah, again, that's another 6 auto wounds before. That's the 6 auto wounds before rerolls. So, you know, volley guns as well, they're going to be really helpful. You know, so many implications. 6 auto wounds from a 90 point squad of Scions. What's the one big problem you've ever had with your hotshot lasguns? Oh, they've got great AP, decent first rank fire, second rank fire, you know, volume of fire capabilities. But that strength 3 just really diddles me. Really makes my lasguns just struggle. Not if they auto wound, bro. Not if they auto wound. It's insane. You know, they're AP3. So this is really powerful across. It's such a powerful rule. Is it too powerful? Well, I'm not one to look a gift buff in the mouth. I'd just say that, look, Guard, you know, we've been doing okay, but we have, you know, we've been struggling to get, every time a new codex comes out, we sort of struggle our way up to a 30 to 40% win rate before getting kicked in the nuts and falling over again by the next codex. I think time will tell. I mean, it is certain, there's no two ways about it. It's extremely powerful. I think we're going to have to revisit this in a few weeks and see if it's so powerful, if it's powerful enough to make Guard top tier. But it's certainly a very powerful rule. And what's even better, what's a really cool thing about it is Guard often have to roll lots and lots of dice, which is time consuming. Well, less dice need to be rolled now, less time consuming. That's one way of looking at it. Guarantee you for the first few games that you're going to forget to pick those 6s up. So that's the first of the major buffs that we received in the balance patch. I know I've spoken 18 minutes on one singular buff, but it's got loads of far-reaching implications, I'm sure you guys can tell. You know, you've got everything from your tanks and your infantry to your Scions to your Torx Primes. Everything's affected by this. It's massive. So, moving on to the second big buff that we got, which is this one is weird. I mean, I'm not complaining, but this one is strange. Okay, so it says change the points cost for an infantry squad unit as follows. Note that the cost of all this unit's war gear option is reduced to 0 points. Infantry squads now cost 60 points. But all their upgrades are free. So yeah, you are now paying 6 points per dude, which is a bit of a shame. But you're spending, you get a free las cannon. You get a free Voxcaster. You get a free plasma gun. You get a free plasma pistol on your sergeant. You get a free power sword on your sergeant. All war gear options are 0 points. So every guard squad just needs to be dialed up to the 9s. Previously, if you took a las cannon, what's it like, 20 points? I don't even know anymore. I'm so out of the game, right? I'm so used to just taking bare bones infantry squads. But you know, it's like 20 points for a las cannon, And then you're looking at, was it 15? Is it 15 points for like an infantry based one? Anyway, 15 points for a las cannon, 5 points for a Voxcaster, so that's 20. 5 points for plasma, that's 25. 5 points for a plasma pistol, so that's 30. 5 points for a power sword, that's 35 points. So that would have been a 90-point squad, dialed up. Now it's 60, and there is an so it's just mad. It's just absolutely mad. So whilst you might, I know there's some people which have said, but Mordian Glory, I wanted to run my squads as bare bone units. Now I'm just having to spend 5 points more than I want to, and I get that, and I'm like, hell, think about that when it comes to like my Cajun army that I've been running recently, which is all those, you know, those infantry squads backing up those tanks. Like shit, I've got what, like 8 infantry squads in that army. That's what, like another 40 points I've got to find on top of the bloody, they increase the points of the Mantacores. So it's like another 60 points I've got to find for my army. But it's not. Because with that Cajun army, for example, what I'm going to do is I used to have to put the sponsons on my tanks because I needed the extra firepower, but I couldn't justify putting it in an infantry squad. Now I'm just going to drop all the sponsons off my tanks. Because all my infantry squads are going to be packing that extra little bit of chip damage that I was looking for. So yeah, I'm going to have way more stuff. I'm probably going to end up with more infantry than I did. Hell, maybe even another tank or something crazy. Do you know what I mean? So this is massive. So for hybrid guard players, don't worry. You just, you know, you'll rearrange and you'll probably end up better off, is what I'd say. For infantry guard players, this is insane. Insanely good. I mean, what the frig? Cast your minds back to when I did the first tournament review video of 9. So I took pure infantry guard to a tournament. Cast your minds back to that. I was spending 60 points on my infantry squads because I was putting a plasma gun in them. Can you imagine how much better I would have done if my pure infantry army, every single squad had every upgrade on it? Every single one. I'd get a free plasma pistol, free power sword, I'd have Voxcasters, I'd have an extra las cannon in every squad. Or heavy bolter, whatever you want to pick, you know, because you want to get that balance. You want to, maybe heavy bolters for Hammer of the Emperor, maybe las cannons just because they're the biggest buck for free kind of thing. But it's insane. It's totally bonkers. You can take like 3 battalions, max out your infantry squads, and it's like less than 1,000. It's less than 1,000 points, or it's just 18 infantry squads. So you look at that would be, if you had 20 infantry squads, that'd be 1,200 points, but minus 140, what, 1,060, 1,080 points, something like that. 18 fully upgraded infantry squads, 3 battalions maxed out, 180 infantry, 18 las guns, 18 plasma guns or melter guns, 18 plasma pistols, 18 power swords, 18 Voxcasters, everything maxed out, 1,000 points. It's bonkers. I almost don't have enough points now. Like I almost have too many points. What am I going to spend the 1,000 points on? You know, it's crazy. You know, like I don't know what to do with myself. I've got to I've run out of slots. Do I then start taking 2 battalions and a brigade? Sure, I've got to pay tax on I've got to take 3 bullshit sentinels, but I'm happy to take the heavy weapon squads anyway. Sentinels are kind of good against Grey Knights, not even a tax anymore. So then I can take 24 fully upgraded infantry squads, which is still, 1,200 points, off the top of my head, quick maths, plus another 240, 1,440 points. Still plenty of points over there, guys. Add in the heavy weapon squads, you're looking at 1,600, and the sentinels 1,700, something like that. Still 300 points left over. It's mad. It's bonkers. I genuinely don't know what to do about it. It's insane. It's really good. Don't get me wrong. I think the way to go is to stick to your 3. If you're going pure infantry, stick to your 3 battalions. So you get your 18 infantry squads, but then just be like, right, max command squads, max special weapon squads, max veteran squads, and max heavy weapon squads, and friggin' hell, let's see where we are at that point. Now, I haven't done the maths on that yet, guys, but that's where I think you want to go. Even then, I think you're going to have points left over. It's insanely powerful for this. I've got a tournament coming up in May. I'm running pure infantry for it. I'm running my Mordians. The Mordians are coming out in force. I was going to be running the Cadians and whatnot. I mean, I might use the Cadian rules form. I might use my custom regiment trait. I haven't decided yet. But the point is, it's like, we're going pure infantry, guys. And we are going all fucking in. And we are going to be taking pure infantry with all of the upgrades. And it's going to be powerful. I got priests. I can take priests again because I'll be able to afford them. So not only have I got extra power source attacks, but I got extra attacks. You know, it's just crazy. There's so much good shit that can come out from this. It's pretty mad. It's pretty powerful. You know, does this make conscripts for a while were like the premier choice over infantry squads for a lot of this? But I think this kind of makes infantry squads really tempting. Real tempting. You know, you're getting it's. I'm almost at a loss for words. There's a lot more to come from this. So anyway, guys, appreciate I've been sort of just gushing for like 25 minutes now over these buffs, but they're really strong. They're really, 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 really strong. You know, that Hammer of the Emperor combined with pure infantry now, it's the amount of auto wounds you're going to be putting out is something else. It's something else. Last thing to mention, and it's not in a funny sort of way, it's not really a buff, but Games Workshop nerfed indirect fire weapons. So now if you're firing an indirect fire weapon at a target that you can't see, then it's -1 to hit essentially. Well, technically it's -1 to your ballistic skill, and it's +1 to the enemy's armor save. But then they put in a little thing at the bottom saying, "Oh, attacks made with indirect fire weapons by Ashton Militar models are unaffected by this nerf." So, yeah, it's a nerf to like everyone else's indirect fire, but Games Workshop's literally acknowledging the fact that we have the best artillery, so we don't get affected by that. So now it's like that's really good. It's in a funny sort of way. It's not a buff. I wouldn't call it a buff because we're not gaining anything that we didn't already have. We're just not affected by everyone else's getting taken out, which should really help us maintain sort of the Kings of Indirect Fire crown, which we kind of have had for a while. But, you know, Tau with all those airbursts or whatever the hell they were, and SMS, they were starting to get a bit, they were starting to take that crown off us. But, you know, now we can, you know, we can sort of snatch that crown back, and I think we're still going to be doing really well on that. So that's kind of the main bits that I want to mention. There's other things that I just would mention very briefly. Marines are now getting, you know, the Marines have clearly had all their power armor made on Armageddon, because now they all get worse than the arm penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. It's kind of better than the Armageddon Steel Legion one though, because that's just AP -1 is ignored. So basically, all Marines reduce AP by 1. They don't get +1 to the save. So if they're on a 3-up, they don't become a 2-up. It's just, if you hit them with a heavy bolter, they're still going to get a 3-up save. If you hit them with a missile launcher, they'll be on a 4-up save. If you hit them with a plasma gun, they're going to be on a 5-up save rather than a 6-up save. So it's a really, really powerful rule. And in terms of how that affects me personally, my Black Tide just got even better. It's insane. That Black Tide was already was one of the most durable armies I've ever built. Now it's even more durable. Like, Jesus Christ. I cannot wait to run it at more events. And then there's some, like, you know, Tau got nerfed a bit. You know, broadsides you're not going to see broadsides very much anymore. They lost core. Harlequins, serious points changes to Star Weavers and Void Weavers. Hopefully we've seen the end of that nonsense now. And then there's probably some other bits that I've missed. I think, yeah, probably there's some other bits we missed, but that's the main bit. Salamanders are apparently really good now, but whatever. So Custodes got a little bit screwed over. Not as much, not as much as OBSEC, and their turn off all the rerolls things is in the bin somewhat. I don't really care about those guys. Screw those guys. I'm here for the Ashman Atarm buffs, and I know you guys are too. Anyway, guys, let's call it there. Put it down in the comment section below. Have I missed anything? Because, you know, please let me know. If I have, I'll do a follow-up video. I can be talking about this balance patch for friggin' days. But put it down in the comment section below. I'd really appreciate if you think I've missed anything. Have you got any... What are the implications for your army on this? Put it down in the comment section below. And are there any crunchy combos, any juicy treats that you found? You know, what are the biggest impacts of Hammer of the Emperor? What have you found that's going, you know what, that's fucking broken, let's abuse it, the shit out of it. You know, and that's the mentality I'd have, guys. We have been in the bin for long enough. Okay? We've literally been crap for all of 9th edition pretty much, and it's only, we've had such a limited selection of feasible builds and everything. We're now looking pretty strong again. If Hammer of the Emperor turns out to be a little broken, don't feel guilty about it. You know, because if it is broken, they'll, you know, Games Workshop will correct it. And if it's just powerful, then we deserve it, because we've been struggling. We've, like, you know, we've been playing one hammer down behind our backs, guys. So don't feel guilty for making the most out of this buff, especially if you're a competitive player, especially so. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Huge thank you to the channel Patreon supporters. It's thanks to Patreon supporters that I'm able to go to the events that I go to and not only theorycraft talking about these buffs, but actually go and test them and bring back real world data. It's thanks to the Patrons that I'm able to do that. So huge thank you to you guys. I know I say every video now, that doesn't lessen it. You guys are fantastic. I love every single one of you. Massive thank you. Really appreciate your generosity. And if you're interested in becoming a Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.